Thanks for joining us on the news. My name is Perpetua Fasami Peter. Now the news in detail. The President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the 2023 budget proposal of 21.83 trillion naira, along with the 2022 supplementary appropriation bill. It is the eighth and final budget of his regime. Buhari signed the 2023 budget at the council chambers of the presidential villa Abuja in the presence of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Senate President Ahmad Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, and other members of the Federal Executive Council (FEC). While commending the National Assembly for its near seamless relationship with the executive arm, Buhari urged the legislature to reconsider its stance on its proposal to securitize the federal government's outstanding ways and means balance of 22.7 trillion naira at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Failure to grant the securitization approval he warned would cost the government about 1.8 trillion naira in additional interest in 2023 and a 40-year repayment period on the securitized debt. Buhari's appeal comes barely 1 week after the Senate rejected his request to restructure the 22.7 trillion ways and means advances. Speaking at the signing of the budget, the president revealed that the aggregate expenditures of 21.83 trillion naira is an increase of 1.32 trillion naira over the initial executive proposal for a total expenditure of 20.51 trillion naira. He said the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act would enable his regime to respond to the havoc caused by the recent nationwide floods on infrastructure and agriculture sectors. As is customary, he noted, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, would subsequently provide more details of the approved budget and the supporting 2022 Finance Act. According to the President, his decision to sign the 2023 Appropriation Bill into law passed by the National Assembly is to enable swift implementation considering the imminent transition process to another democratically elected government. However, he directed the Finance Minister to engage with the legislature to revisit some of the changes made to the executive budget proposal, expressing the hope that the National Assembly would cooperate with the executive arm of government in this regard. While urging the National Assembly to reconsider its position on his proposal to securitize the federal government's outstanding ways and means balance at the CBN, Buhari said, and I quote, "As I stated, the balance has accumulated over several years and represents funding provided by the CBN as lender of last resort to the government to enable it to meet obligations to lenders as well as cover budgetary shortfalls in projected revenues or borrowings." End of quote. Investors on the Nigerian exchange gained 5.618 trillion between January 4, 2022, when the market opened, and the close of business on December 30, 2022. Despite the global economic risk, the Nigerian stock market capitalization grew from 22.297 trillion naira as of January 4, 2022 to 27.915 trillion naira as of December 30, 2022. In the period under review, the NGX All-Share Index grew by 19.98% to 51,251.06 basis points amid volatility in stock markets across advanced countries caused by risk asset sell-offs by investors. According to a Financial Times report quoted in the Institute of International Finance, the emerging markets were hit by a record streak of withdrawals by foreign investors, leading to cross-border outflows of $38 billion between March and July. According to recent data, Ghana joined Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Pakistan as countries that have indicated a lack of capacity to continue to service their debts. While speaking on the market run in the period under review, the Chief Executive Officer of Marine Capital and Partners, Tajuddin Olayinka, said that the performance was driven largely by the availability of investable funds and impact of inflation, while cautioning that more needed considering the size of the Nigerian economy. That more is needed considering the size of the Nigerian economy. A senior vice president of FBN Quest, Owa Osadiaye, said the appreciation was induced by the absence of foreign investors who had taken a sizable global risk off the capital market. He said if they had a significant amount of foreign portfolio investment in the equity market, the results would not have been very nice because a lot of them would have exited, causing a very bad decline in the market. He added that the rise in the monetary policy rate by the central bank motivated the investors to switch from equities to federal government debt instruments and was one of the major drivers of the performance. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer NGX, Temi Bukwola, spoke about the exchange's impressive year despite facing global macroeconomic challenges and volatility. He said it's been a fantastic year for the NGX with a positive 19.98% return. He added that they have also seen several landmark listings in equity and fixed income, including Boa Foods and Gergo Power, which have played a key role in driving growth in the market in the year. Following the December 31 deadline and in compliance with CAMA 2020 that listed companies should seize all unissued shares, the federal government has warned that companies that fail to abide by the deadline will receive daily penalties for defaulting. To be recalled that the President Muhammadu Buhari had signed the Company and Allied Matters 2020 Act CAMA, preventing listed firms from holding unauthorized shares into law in 2021. Although many companies had either given out their unauthorized shares as bonuses for their shareholders, several others were yet to comply with the new law and due to the federal government's December 31 deadline. Clifford Akpolo, the head of marketing and corporate communications of NGX, had said that the responsibility lies with the Corporate Affairs Commission. However, in a public notice on Friday titled Late Compliance by Existing Companies with the Requirement on Issued Share Capital under the Companies and Allied Matters 2020 said, and the Companies Regulations of 2021, CSE warned that any application filed by companies in compliance with the extended deadline would be met with a severe penalty on the company. It added that officers of such erring companies would not be spared of receiving penalties so long the shares remained unissued after the December 31, 2022 deadline. And moving on, the Managing Director at Edo State Skills Development Agency, Mrs. Violet Obiokoro, has said loans disbursed by the state government and the Bank of Industry BOI have promoted the expansion of businesses operated by persons living with disability in the state. Obiokoro said the 2 billion naira Edo State MSME funds was currently managed by the agency Edo Jobs in partnership with the Bank of Industry and Trust Fund Microfinance Bank. She noted that it was aimed at providing financial and other business support services to qualified entrepreneurs involved in micro, small and medium enterprise businesses located in the 18 local government areas of Edo State. Obiokoro said it is important to note that some of those persons living with disability beneficiaries are in various business sectors such as shoemaking, petty trading, distribution of made-in-Nigeria goods, among others. She added that in view of the criteria put in place for the selection, 60% of the beneficiaries are female, while 40% are male. However, 10% of the total money from the funds have been reserved for business owners in Edo State who are living with disability, and since disbursement of funds began in February 2022, 6% out of the 10% allotted to people living with disability has been successfully disbursed to the beneficiaries to the tune of 28.8 million naira spread across the 3 senatorial districts in the state. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said the use of cash payment will naturally reduce by 2025 as the new naira notes circulate in the economy. The Apex Bank made this known in its Payments Vision 2025 document. It said by 2025, the country aspired to have a cashless and efficient electronic payment system infrastructure that would facilitate financial services in all the sectors of the economy. According to the CBN document, the Nigerian payment landscape has many options that have displaced cash in recent times, including electronic bill payment, mobile phone top-up, and mobile and internet payments. The bank said the PSV 2025 will focus the attention of critical stakeholders on contemporary developments that will drive digital innovations in payment in the future, such as contactless payments, big data, and open banking. While charging all stakeholders to support the bank in executing initiatives under the PSV 2025 towards fostering an efficient and secure payment system, it said it would ensure a secure, reliable, and user-centric financial solution in compliance with international standards. To be recalled that the Apex Bank had said the quantum of money that could be withdrawn from the counter would be drastically restricted while unveiling the new Naira notes in Abuja. The governor, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, also insisted that the January 31st deadline for the exchange of old notes would not be extended. Moving on, Nigeria's Purchasing Managers Index PMI, a gauge for manufacturing sentiments, rose in December amid inflationary pressure on consumers. The latest PMI issued echoed concerns in the broader economy about Nigeria's defiant inflation, which is currently at its 10-month high. Vulnerabilities in the exchange rate of the Naira to the US dollar were highlighted as pivots, driving costs up by Stanbic IBTC Bank, which runs the survey monthly in partnership with London-based market intelligence powerhouse S&P Global Platts and the National Bureau of Statistics. Prices also saw fresh pressures in December when festivities leading up to the Christmas holiday and beyond usually stoke consumer spending and spur large new orders at factories, strengthening activity. The PMI reading for December was 54.6 compared with 54.3 1 month prior. A reading below 50 is a marker of contraction, but any reading above that threshold suggests growth. A key source of economic data for investors, analysts and decision makers, PMI shows the trajectory of growth in the manufacturing and services sectors. Sectors comprising manufacturing, services, agriculture and wholesale and retail all reported growth in output. Employment levels in firms jumped within the period on the need for new recruitment to relieve existing staff as workload expanded. Meanwhile, business confidence saw little improvement, with some of the firms attributing their optimism to planned investment and business expansions. And still to come, dollar falls as Europe inflation cools and China lifts Aussie. Details and more news after this commercial break. Stay with us.